Hello, welcome to Lion Heritage TV. Did you watch my video on the Asantis? Did you watch my video on the Ewes? Did you watch my video on the Gandangme? If you've not watched it, kindly go and check it out. This is Lion Heritage TV. You know, every week we drop videos on the tribes in Ghana. Today we're going to look at the Fantis. The Fantis, where do they come from? So just subscribe to this channel, like, comment, and share. You know what it is. Lion Heritage TV, and I'm out. Thank you for your support. See you. Fanti is Asante spoken with a different accent close to the Guan languages. Many Fantis live in the central and the western regions of Ghana, with Mankasim as their traditional headquarters. Let's continue. The Fantis, like I already said, or the Assafo, mainly do fishing and farming. Now, the Fantis, as I said, are part of the Akan family. So they all came down after the fall of the Mali Empire and were in the Bono region, or they were part of the Bono state or the Bono kingdom. Around 1250 AD, they had to move because of struggles and strifes between the Bonoman kingdom. So they had to leave, and then they moved and stayed at Tichiman, which is close to present day Tuabodom. Yes, because they had some issues with the Bono people, so they left. So there is a popular saying that the half that left, because they were all Akans. So as they moved, it was like the half that left. Now, they did not move alone. The Fantis didn't move by themselves. They moved with the Wasa and the Ahanta people. They moved with them. On this journey, as they were moving, they were led by three famous priests or warriors. The first was Obrumankuma, the whale, Odapajan, the eagle, and Osun, the elephant. That was the names given to these three people. So you can see that these three priests or leaders were really great people because they really had great names. Now, on this journey, two of them died, and then they were embalmed. They were embalmed and then carried along the way. And they were also led by Okomfo Amona. There was another who was also called Okomfo Amona. When they got to the River Pra, the Wasa did not cross the River Pra and move northward, or the north side of the western region. So they moved to that side. So when you go to the northern side or that side of the western region, you can see that many people there are from Wasa. They are the Wasa people. Yes. The hunters did not cross. As I told you, they were also going with the hunters. The hunters did not cross, but also went through the banks of the river. They were going, walking along the river. You know, they were just walking like at the mouth of the river and came to Shama. The Fantis crossed the Pra and came to Kwamansey, where they first settled there. So they settled there. And then they moved to a town. They were led by a priest called Okomfo Eku. Now, it was this same Okomfo Eku who discovered water, because when the people came, they were looking for a source of water. And then there was this brackish water. But because of the looks of the water, the people were afraid to drink it. But he made a dog drink it first. And after a while, the dog didn't die, and he also drank it and he gave to the people. And the people saw that the water was good. So as they saw that the water was good, they said in their local dialect in Fanti, Eku aso nsu no ahwe, Eku aso nsu no ahwe, nsu no oye, nsu no oye. It means that Eku has drunk, or he has tasted the water, and the water is good. So this was one of the first streams or rivers or water source for the Fanti people at the place that they settled. So they called the place Ikwasu. Ikwasu. So like Iku Ikwasu. They then moved to Adwajer. So when they got there were people living there. And they called those people Itifu because those people, they had bushy hair. Their hair was bushy. So they called them Itifu. And the Fantis struggled with these people there and overcame them around 1252 AD. And they named the place Mankasim, or previously Omankese. Omankese means Oman, a big place or a big town. So Mankasim. Now, when they came, they were in 5 major groups: the Abora, Anyan, Ikumfi, Inkusukum, and then the people of Mankasim. Later, others joined because the Asantis, as they were expanding their kingdoms, there was war and struggles between them. So others also left the Asante Empire and then came over to where the Fantis were. People left from the side of the Lake Busumche, like the Gomwa people, they joined. But then the real people, the people of the Mankasim, they called themselves Amanfo, like indigens. Yes, Amanfo. So let's continue. So people also like the Breman people, they also came from the side of the Lake Busumche. The Agonas Radio people, they also joined the Fantis at where they were. Now, when they settled, they began to organize themselves into militia groups or military groups called the Assafo. Now, the Assafo is one of the, let's say, it was one of the most organized groups in Ghana as at that time. And then they also had their individual flags. So they moved with their flags. And it was very successful. They really helped to maintain law and order for the Fantis. Asa, warrior, fo, people. So that is how we got the Assafo. Yes, so the warrior people. Okay. Now, after a while, they were also led by a chief called Amona. Amona. Now I've already talked about this Amona. I told you that when they were on their way, as they were led by Obrumankuma, Odapajan, and Osun, I told you that when they died, he was also led by Amona. Now this Amona was the same man who planted a spear into the ground at their settlement. He planted a spear into the ground at their settlement. They called the place Achin Enyim. It means the meaning like in front of a god. So he planted the spear there. The place became a meeting place for the Fanti elders and others to discuss important matters. Now, this is the same place where the first king of Mankasim was installed. Or where he was installed. So when the people got to Mankasim, Amona planted a spear in the ground. Legend has it that no mortal hands can remove that spear from the ground. Okay. Now, after they got to the place, I told you they were led by Obrumankuma and the others, but they died. And they were buried at a place called Nangpo. Yes, so Nangpo is a very special place for the Fantis. Now, this same Amona also planted a limb of a tree to see if the land was good for settlement when they got there first. And as the tree grew, they called it Ebisa Dua, or the consulting tree, which is an important shrine in present-day Mankasim. The Asantis began to expand their territory or their control in Ghana, and this led to a series of wars between the Asantis and then the Fantis. Now, whilst the Asantis were good in open battle, the Fantis did well guerrilla warfare tactics. You could see that the Fantis in open battle, the Ashantis in open battle, They were very good. Now, after a defeat in 1811 to the Asantes, it prompted the Fantis to get matched together, or to become united, or to get closer. And in 1844, an agreement was signed with the British called the Bond of 1844 at Fomena. It was signed by then Commander Hill with a group of Fanti chiefs for protection, but they were still an independent state. The Fanti states came together because of rising tension from other kingdoms or tribes or other rising powers in Ghana. So they formed that. Now, along the line, the British were also dealing with the Asantes. After the British and the Dutch agreed to exchange forts without consulting any Fanti chiefs, around 1867, the Fanti chiefs and other closely related tribes met in the early 1868 to establish a self-governing state free from European domination, the Fantes Confederation. It lasted between 1868 and 1872. They had an executive council, they had a judiciary, they had an army, they had a written constitution, and then also they took taxes from the people. This discouraged the Dutch, who later abandoned the coast entirely, leaving the British in the area, who also helped to disband the Fantes Confederation, which later became a British protectorate. So the first Omanhene, or king or chief of the Fantes Confederation, was called Kwesi Edo. He was the first leader of the confederacy. So the Fantis were strong people. They took a control over the entire coastal area, and then they did other things concerning the slave trade and other stuff. Now, the Fantis have lots of festivals. Some of the festivals include the Bobo and Fanti Akwambo, we say the Akwambo Festival, or Bakatwe by the people of Elmina. But then one of the biggest is the Ogwa Fetu Afashe by the people in the central region, Cape Coast. Yeah, it's one of the biggest. There are many festivals celebrated by the Fantis. Now, many tourist attractions include the Elmina Castle, the Cape Coast Castle, the Kakum National Park, and the others. Now, the Fantis speak in Fanti or Fanti. That is the language that they speak. They believe in lesser gods. They believe they have their own gods. But then they believe also in the supreme being. And most of them are also Christians. So I hope you've enjoyed this lesson on the Fantis and where they came from. Just watch this video, listen to it, tell a friend, like, share, comment, subscribe. You know what it is, Lion Heritage TV, and I'm out. Thank you.